So the question is, you are given the different stamps of different area. Look at these interesting stamps. How many squares of 1 centimeter does the stamp A cover and the stamp B? So if we look at the stamp A, how many squares are there? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 6 here in first row, 6 in second row and 6 in third row. So stamp A will cover how much squares? 6, 6 and 6. So 18 squares is the area covered by stamp A. So stamp A cover, we will write here 18 squares. 18 squares. Now stamp B, how many squares does the stamp B cover? Here it is 1, 2. So 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8. So 8 squares covered by stamp B. So we will write here that stamp B cover 8 squares. Now the next question is, which stamp has the biggest area? So we have calculated that stamp A covers 18 squares. Stamp A covers 18 squares and stamp B covers 8 squares. Stamp B cover 8 squares. Now we calculate the area for each stamp. Like stamp A is 18 squares and stamp B is 8 squares. We calculate for stamp C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So C stamp covers 6 squares. And calculate for stamp D 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So stamp D covered 12 squares. Stamp D covered 12 squares. And stamp E 1, 2, 3, 4. So stamp E covers 4 squares. And stamp F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So stamp F covers 12 squares. So these are the different squares covered by stamp A, B, C, D. A covers 18 squares and B covers 8 squares. So now the question is that which stamp has the biggest area? Since stamp A covers the maximum number of squares, that is 18 squares, so we will say that stamp A has the biggest area. How many squares of 1 side centimeter does this stamp cover? So stamp A cover 18 squares. The biggest area wali stamp hai jo, that covers 18 squares. Now the next question is, how much is the area of the biggest stamp in square centimeters? Since it covers 18 squares of 1 centimeter side, so 1 square का area कितना है? 1 square का area है, that will be 1 centimeter square. So 18 square का area कितना हो जाएगा? 18 centimeter square. So we will write here that it has 18 square centimeter area. Now we move on to next question. Which two stamps have the same area? If we look at the figure, the stamp D and stamp F has 12 squares. Stamp D has 12 squares and stamp F has 12 squares. So we will say that stamp D and F have the same area. D and F have same area. How much is the area of each of these stamp cover? Each of these stamp cover 12 squares each. 12 squares each. So area will be 12 square centimeter for each of these stamp. Now the next question is, the area of the smallest stamp is. Now if we look at the smallest stamp, that is clearly stamp E. Stamp E is the smallest since it covers the minimum number of squares, that is 4 squares. So if we are asked the area of the smallest stamp, that will be 4 square centimeter since it covers only 4 squares. Now the question is, the difference between the area of the smallest and the biggest stamp is. The difference between the area of the smallest and the biggest stamp is, biggest stamp का area है 18 square centimeter, माइनस कर देंगे smallest stamp का area है 4 centimeter square. So difference will be 14 square सेंटीमीटर, और वी कैन राइट इट एज 14 सेंटीमीटर स्क्वायर। ठीक है ना, दोनों तरह से लिख सकते हैं। तो आंसर विल बी 14 फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन।